Hello. Hi. No. What? Long time no see. I haven't made a video in really long because I simply have not been reading anything. I think I've had a reading slump that started shortly before summer, and the whole summer I've just not been reading a lot. I read like one book, so. But now I feel like as soon as like it gets a little bit more fall vibes outside, I'm back into it. I'm back into reading. So I want to take this week. I don't have a lot of stuff going on. I just want to take this week to get back into reading. My goal is to read 50 pages a day, which is around 1 hour, I want to say. I think one of the worst things you can do when you have a reading slump is to try and read longer books. And that's what I've been doing. And then V. Schwab's new book, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, came out. And I thought this was going to be the book to cure me of my reading slump. But it didn't. But I'm still going to continue it. I'm still really enjoying it. I'm about 300 pages in. It's roughly 500 pages long. The thing is about this book, I read some criticism about her book, The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue, people saying that it's not been edited enough. And I didn't feel that way about Eddie LaRue, but this book, the first 300 pages, did not need to be that long. Not a lot has happened yet. I feel like now we're at the point where the actual plot is starting, where the characters are finally getting together. So the first 300 pages was just a lot of setting up, and that is boring. Still want to see where it goes. I did make a video this summer. I did make a vlog about how to get out of a reading slump, but I never finished the video because I never actually got out of the reading slump. And I did try. I read I Who Have Never Known Man. I read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I read Twilight, because for the video I read like one short book, one funny book, and reread a favorite. So that's what I did, and none of it helped. It didn't do anything for my reading slump. So I scratched that whole video and was like, okay, I'm just gonna go back to reading and vlogging when I feel like it. But now I feel I do. It's Monday. I'm gonna take you through my week and update you. Let's go. So I feel like I haven't talked to you guys yet about what this book is about. So it is a book about vampires, and it's a story about 3 women, Maria, Charlotte, and Alice. One of them lives in 1532, the other one in 1827, and the third one in 2019. And because they're vampires, you can guess that all of their stories are tangled. I'm on page 310, right? And this is a story about 3 women. And we've only had the POV of 2 of them yet. So this page 310 is the time that we get actually introduced to the 3rd one. And although I'm really enjoying it, it's quite long. I don't want to spoil anything, but I think now is really the moment that the story really picks up, and those 3 women really get just intertwined. Is that the right word? I don't know, but I'm still excited to see where the story is going. 370 pages last night, and we finally got introduced to our third main character. I was struggling to read 50 pages at first, not gonna lie, because I don't remember the last time I read that much in one sitting, and my concentration is like really bad. It's really bad. I just finished work and I wanted to give you an update on this book. So I read my 50 pages of it yesterday. And what I kind of noticed these past few days, I mean, I've been doing this since Monday, but when I'm reading 50 pages of a like fictional novel every day, I'm so much more into the story. I'm just more invested into it than when I just read like 10 pages a day. You know what I mean? Because when I only read 10 pages, I don't really feel invested into the story. I don't really care that much. And also I feel like nothing's really happening. Nothing's going on. The story isn't really progressing. Oh, she doesn't want to be. I just pet her and she immediately licked herself. Okay. An update on the story. As I said, this is a story about 3 women. Most of the book up until like 300 pages has been mostly about the first woman. Her name is Maria. She was born in the 1500s. Obviously, she then turns into a vampire. She then lives on until 1827 when she meets Charlotte. And then the third girl, she's called Alice. She also had a few chapters up until now, but it was mostly, first of all, of her turning into a vampire, but then there were so many flashbacks in her chapters, so many flashbacks to her life with like her sister and her dad and her stepmom. And if I'm being honest, I don't care. I really do not care about Alice's flashbacks. There have been way too many, way too detailed, and for me Alice is quite an uninteresting character. And now the last 50 pages or more than that have been about Maria and Charlotte. So Maria meets Charlotte in 1827 and they fall in love. That should have been the main focus of the story, the main part of the story, and we don't get that until 300 pages. That is for me, it's for me, this love story is for me the most interesting part of this book right now, and you don't get that until you're 300 pages in. That's a lot of time invested for almost nothing. And I like slow books. I really do. This is a very slow book. I understand, like I've seen people online say that there is very little to keep them interested in those 300 pages. And I understand there is not much in those first 300 pages because there is very little plot. It's very much about Maria through the ages. It's too detailed. It's too much. As I said, I feel like now that we've met Charlotte and Maria and Charlotte fall in love, I feel like that should have been the main focus of the story, and that should have come earlier than at 300 pages. That I feel like that's my main criticism of the book right now. The pacing is a little bit off because it was 300 pages, there was no plot, and now we're getting the plot with the story, you know, with the love story. I mean, now we're getting a plot. Other than that, I really like V.E. Schwab's writing, and I'm now excited to see how it ends. I have about 100 pages left, so if I'm reading 50 pages today and 50 pages tomorrow, I'm finishing this book tomorrow, finally. Oh my god, I can finish this book before the weekend. And then maybe I'll be able to read another book in this vlog. So I guess I'll be back tomorrow with a final update and final thoughts on it. I'll see you then. Toodaloo. So I finished Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I'm just gonna give my final thoughts on it very briefly. I think I already talked about it enough, what I didn't like about it. I would give this book three 3.5 stars because after finishing it, it's very obvious that Maria and Charlotte's story is like the core of the book. Again, I think it just came way too late. The ending was okay. It did leave a little bit on a cliffhanger. I feel like the same way that The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue did, where it's like, okay, you can finish the book here and the story is over, but at the same time, she leaves the door open for a potential sequel, which is always like, okay, so it's not really finished. So the ending again showed that the pacing was just off. It's really like lengthy, right? It's like 300 pages, very minimal plot. Then she gets to Maria's and Charlotte's story, which is very interesting. And then when she's done with this, it feels like she's like, oh, I'm already at 400 pages. I should probably like stop or find an ending to it. This is how it feels, at least when you read it. And it's like, okay, and then this happens, and then this, and then stop. Still, I do like the story and the idea behind it. I just think it's not as well executed as some of her other books. The characters are very interesting. I just wish she would have focused more on Maria and Charlotte and, like, I don't know, left Alice out a little bit. I really did not care about Alice. And like right at the ending, she gave us another flashback for Alice. And I was like, I don't care, okay? The writing and the story itself are amazing. I love the idea of it and the characters. So I just feel like there was something missing to make it really, really good. Now we actually get to pick our next book. And I'm gonna do this with my TBR mug. You know what? Let's just change location real quick. So I made a small adjustment to my TBR jar or mug or whatever. It's a mug. It's this thing. Before it just had all of my books in here, all of my unread books, but I just made a little small adjustment. I just put all of my books that have under 300 pages in here because at the moment I just want to read shorter books. I just want to read some books, you know, and not books that take a lot of time right now. We're gonna pick out my next read now together that I'm gonna read this weekend. Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna read that. It's Kim Ji-young, born 1982. And this is very short, isn't it? It's not even 200 pages. Okay, so I'm gonna start this right now, I think. I'm just gonna read the first 50 pages of it or something. Hi. So it's been a while. It's been like a week. I think the last thing you saw was the pumpkin patch. After that, I got a little sick and I didn't want to film anything. So yeah, it's been like a week since that footage that you saw. But I wanted to give like my final thoughts on this book. What I noticed myself doing is that I always show you the book that I'm reading or I'm going to read, but I never actually tell you what it's about. And that's kind of annoying to me right now. So this is more of a novella, I would say. It's by this Korean author. She basically writes about the experience of growing up as a woman in South Korea, and in this case we have Kim Jung. We just follow her through all stages of life, beginning in childhood, and then we go to like her studying and her first job, and then obviously marriage. And that's where we start the story. Is her husband kind of like notices her just being weird and becomes concerned, and then we get her whole life story. It is basically about the unequal treatment of Korean women in, well, Korean society. But I think that a lot of the experiences our main character goes through are shared by women around the world. I found it quite interesting. To be honest, this book just makes you angry. It just makes you kind of furious at the world. It's definitely not a light-hearted read, and it's a combination of fact and fiction. So she does put some facts in there as well, and there are like footnotes. And I would say the writing style is rather dry, but I felt like it fit the story very well. Definitely recommend it. As I said, it's very short, but it's not like a lighthearted read. I gave this book 5 stars. It's very easy to read. It's interesting, and even though it makes you angry at the world, I still enjoyed it. So that concludes the video, the vlog. Thank you so much for watching if you watched until now, and see you next time. Bye.